The plaster absorbs what the silence demands. A heavy confession escaping my hands. I whisper the ugly, the absolute gray, to the dust in the corners that never goes away. There's a physical crush right under my bone, the suffocating geometry of sitting alone. If the ether could carry a fraction of the cost, I'd drop it right into the paradise you crossed. I just want you to carry 1 second of the weight, to choke on the gravity of this empty slate, to feel the specific blunt force of the blow, where the oxygen stops but the hours still go. It's not for revenge, I just need you to see the permanent wreckage you handed to me. There is so much pain, you know, more than I can show. You're probably sleeping untangled and light, immune to the venom I swallow tonight. I'm speaking your crimes to the cold window frame, wishing the atmosphere would whisper my name. Just one sudden fracture to interrupt your breath, a tiny taste of this quiet emotional death. Just one single beat where the room starts to spin, where you finally feel where the hollow sets in. A fraction of agony, brutal and true, just to prove that the history happened to you. I just want you to carry 1 second of the weight, to choke on the gravity of this empty slate, to feel the specific blunt force of the blow, where the oxygen stops but the hours still go. It's not for revenge, I just need you to see the permanent wreckage you handed to me. There's so much pain, you know, more than I can show. Don't reply. The air remains cold. It's too heavy a truth for one chest to hold. Baseline bleeds into the varnished oak. He orders whiskey through a haze of smoke. His fingers slide across the damp glass ring, offering a gentle, unassuming thing. He takes my hand, his grip is soft and dry, searching for a welcome in my vacant eye. The warmth lands heavy on my freezing skin, a brutal proof of the numbness I am in. I'm sitting with a stranger in the amber light, letting him anchor me against the current of the night. I'm trying to absorb the cadence of a living room, instead of tending to this cold, selective tune. His thumb circles my palm, patient and true, but it's just someone new, and he is not you. He leans in close to speak above the ambient hum, on a where the territory's touching is entirely known. There's no malice in his posture, no debts to repay. Just an honest traveler asking if I'll stay. But I'm translating his voice into your old dialect, watching another innocent attempt begin to wreck. It's a violent realization disguised as a caress, that nobody else can inhabit this distress. I reached out for a remedy to clear the space, but his hand just draws the outline of your absent face. I'm sitting with a stranger in the amber light, letting him anchor me against the current of the night. I'm trying to absorb the cadence of a living room instead of tending to this cold, selective tune. His thumb circles my palm, patient and true, but it's just someone new, and he is not you. I pull my hand away, blame it on the hour, still drowning in your power. Someone pours the Merlot, fills the crystal brim. I nod at a joke as the candlelight dims. The conversation hums with a polished, easy sheen, holding my posture perfectly upright and clean. But beneath the linen napkin resting on my lap, my spirit is caught in a quiet, violent trap. A polite smile curves effortless and slow, while the unseen wreckage continues to grow. There are tears inside my heart, a silent tide, washing away the structures where I hide. I'm bleeding out quietly in a velvet chair, offering a room a composed vacant stare. Nobody notices the marrow give way, drowning in an ache I can never display. Just tears inside my heart, pulling me away. The woman to my left asked about my ear. I swallow the cock, but keep the vocal cords clear. Tell her I'm thriving, keeping myself busy now. A flawless deception, though I don't know how, because every metallic scrape against the white plate is a deafening reminder of my empty slate. It's a specific kind of labor, surviving the feast when the hunger for your presence has never ceased. I'm a ghost sitting upright, dressed in fine bread, politely conversing while entirely dead. There are tears inside my heart, a silent tide, washing away the structures where I hide. I'm bleeding out quietly in a velvet chair, offering a room a composed vacant stare. Nobody notices the marrow give way, drowning in an ache I can never display. Just tears inside my heart, pulling me away. The guests push back their chairs, the laughter starts to clear, bleeding out where no one hears. The mirror is a cold silver witness tonight, reflecting the version of me I don't quite recognize. The light hits the floor in a jagged, uneven line, tracing the ghost of a pulse that used to be mine. I'm looking for the girl who lived behind the glow before you taught me how quickly a spirit can go. You used to treat my heartbeat like an heirloom in your hand, a delicate silica, a thing you had to understand. But look at the heart you once held, the one you swore to keep. Now it's just a pile of glitter where the shadows sleep. You handle me like crystal, afraid to even breathe. Then you let the gravity do what I couldn't believe. Now I'm just shrapnel in the corner, swept aside and small, wondering how you could let something so precious fall. There was a time your palms were a sanctuary, a weightless space. I saw the reflection of a treasure in your face, but the neglect was a slow motion hammer against the glass. 1,000 microfractures, watching the seasons pass until the structure couldn't hold the pressure of the ice. And you left the debris to settle in the dust. It's not just the break that stings, it's the quiet after, the hollow ring where there used to be laughter. How do you unshatter a thing that's been ground into sand? How do I find the pieces you dropped from your hand? Swore to keep, now it's just a pile of glitter where the shadows sleep. You handle me like crystal, afraid to even breathe. Then you let the gravity do what I couldn't believe. Now I'm just shrapnel in the corner, swept aside and small, wondering how you could let something so precious fall. Still sharp enough to cut if I try to pick it up, just debris in the dark. The speaker crackles against my cheek in the gray, rewinding an artifact from a different day. Your breath caught static in a digital frame, a casual cadence just saying my name. I guard the recording, I tether to the ground, terrified of the silence that swallows the sound. The oxygen steals the scent from the thread, slowly forcing the present into my bed. If the scar ever forms, the erasure is set, a quiet surrender to the things we forget. They tell me to breathe, let the anchor untie, but the hurt is the proof that the history didn't lie. I'm terrified of the morning, the heaviness lifts, this agony is the last of your intimate gifts. Holding the hollow is a desperate bliss, it's the love I dare not miss. I bury my face in the grey fabric fold, hunting for a warmth that is centuries cold. Grief is an ember, stagnant and deep, preserving the ruin I'm determined to keep. If I pack up the relics, if I open the blinds, I'm leaving the last of your phantom behind. Healing is a treason I cannot commit. I'll stay in the wreckage and measure every bit, because letting you go is a death absolute. I water the sorrow just to nourish the root. If the scar ever forms, the erasure is set. A quiet surrender to the things we forget. They tell me to breathe, let the anchor untie, but the hurt is the proof that the history didn't lie. I'm terrified of the morning, the heaviness lifts. This agony is the last of your intimate gifts. Holding the hollow is a desperate bliss. It's the love I dare not miss. The voicemail ends, the cotton goes cold. The pain is the only thing left to hold. The gray haze hangs heavy above the linen thread, suspending the gravity of things you left unsaid. I watch the beautiful illusion swirling thick, a brilliant vapor that makes the spirit sick. I close my palms around the center of the bloom, trying to anchor your phantom to the room. My fingers pressed together, meeting only air, leaving nothing but the residue of my despair. This love is like smoke, a beautiful deceit, suffocating the oxygen. Magnificent and sweet, I grasp at the suspension, beg the vapor to stay. But the harder I clench, the faster it frays. Now my lungs are just burning, hollow and broke, drowning in the memory. This love is like smoke. In the curtains, and ash upon my coat, a phantom heaviness that settles in my throat. You cannot build a foundation out of an atmosphere, or lock a deadbolt to keep a shadow standing here. I open up my hands to check the bitter cost, just empty skin in the gray of what I lost. It's a specific kind of madness, fighting with the draft, trying to reconstruct the ruin of your life. It fills up every corner, absolute and vast, and vanishes into the vacuum of the past. This love is like smoke, a beautiful deceit, suffocating the oxygen. Magnificent and sweet, I grasp at the suspension, beg the vapor to stay. But the harder I clench, the faster it frays. Now my lungs are just burning, hollow and broke, drowning in the memory. This love is like smoke. just to fit your frame. Swallow the salt of every unspoken blame. I swam out past the drop-off, heavy and grey, while you watched safely from the shelter of the bay. I made a virtue out of giving up my ground, until the person that I was could not be found. Every concession was a weight tied to my waist, a silent bargain that leaves a bitter taste. I'm drowning in an ocean of my own design, giving up my anchor just to fall in line. I went out past the breakers, let the currents pull me down, willing to be the wreckage if it kept you safe and sound. But I look up through the surface, gasping for a hand, and you won't even wet your ankles on the sand. This unequal love is pulling me under. You asked for a compromise, I gave you the horizon. You needed a bridge, so I became the stone. Now my lungs are filling up with every "it's okay" that I whispered to myself to make you stay. You keep your shoes so perfectly, impeccably dry, ignoring the rising tide in my eye. It's not the depth that kills the spirit in the end, it's the quiet realization I can't defend. Watching you stand there untouched by the cold, refusing to reach for the hand you used to hold. I'm drowning in an ocean of my own design, giving up my anchor just to fall in line. I went out past the breakers, let the currents pull me down, willing to be the wreckage if it kept you safe and sound. But I look up through the surface, gasping for a hand, and you won't even wet your ankles on the sand. This unequal love is pulling me under. The water is dark, your shoreline is so far away. You never even tried to wait. To wait. The tungsten filament buzzes in the damp, a yellow halo freezing on the concrete ramp. I flick the switch at 5 o'clock, a quiet task, answering a question that you'll never ask. Ice is thickening on the storm door frame, staring at the snowfall, rehearsing your name. Gravel shifts beneath the heavy strain, just tread my pulse, ignores the truth that lives inside my head. It's an altar made of electricity and glass, a circle on the pavement where the shadows pass. I know the geometry of how you used to walk. across the yard. Paying for this fiction is getting hard. The delivery man leaves a track across the white. Just another false alarm in the velvet blue. Every silhouette is a cruel facsimile, drawing out the ache of your finality. If I turn it off, I admit the dark's permanent. If I cut the wire, I surrender the intent. So I leave the beacon blinding in the frost, guarding the museum of everything I lost. It's an altar made of electricity and glass. They circle on the pavement where the shadows pass. I know the geometry of how you used to walk. I know the cadence stops before the lock. I'm not foolish, I know the bridge is burned. I'm just waiting for your return. Footsteps fade down the avenue. I lock the deadbolt, knowing it wasn't you. The cardboard drags across the unwashed wood, carrying the relics of what I thought was good. I leave the flaps sealed, keep the history blind, refusing to witness the ash left behind. The lacquer is peeling on the narrative arc, just heavy debris moving into the dark. A physical weight for a phantom disease, dumping the archives to buy my release. They wrap up the hemlock in velvet and gold, a beautiful mercy we're desperate to hold. Who says love is sweet? Who authored the lie? Stirring the arsenic, watching me try. We dress up the venom in romance and grace, call it a shelter, romanticize the chase. But the sugar dissolves, leaving nothing but grief. Calculated rot underneath the belief. It's a bitter defeat. Who says love is sweet? The poets are liars who write from the shore. They don't feel the acid corroding the core. My mouth is still dry from the alkaline sting of swallowing every impossible thing. The curbside is cluttered with the myth of the us, leaving the folklore to die in the dust. It wasn't the nectar, it wasn't the cure, just a slow acting ruin, absolute and pure. I drank every drop because you held the glass, praying the agony would eventually pass. Who says love is sweet? Who authored the lie? Stirring the arsenic, watching me try. We dress up the venom in romance and grace, call it a shelter, romance leaving nothing but grief, a calculated rot underneath the belief. It's a bitter defeat. Who says love is sweet? The boxes are gone, the taste still remains, just salt in the veins. The gray dawn creeps across the ceiling cracks, pulling my consciousness down these heavy tracks. My cheek is pressed against a freezing damp before I even reach to touch the bedside lamp. For 5 quiet minutes, the hallway was intact, my sleeping mind overriding every brutal fact. I can still feel the phantom weight of your arm, cruel, temporary shelter from the harm. But it was only you in my dream, playing a part, rewinding the tape of a functioning heart. You were breathing beside me, untangled and true. No suitcases packed, no permanent blue. Then the room comes into focus, sterile and bare, and I'm drowning in the suddenness of empty air, paying for a mercy that was never really there. You spoke in that morning voice, gravelly and low, asking about the weather, nowhere else to go. It felt so ordinary, effortlessly mundane, a flawless erasure of the lingering pain. Now the silence is ringing, deafening and deep, collecting the debt for the treason of sleep. Why does the memory build a house out of smoke, handing back the anchor right before I woke? It's a specific kind of violence, delicate and slow, making me lose you twice, forcing me to let go. But it was only you in my dream, playing a part, rewinding the tape of a functioning heart. You were breathing beside me, untangled and true. No suitcases packed, no permanent blue. Then the room comes into focus, sterile and bare, and I'm drowning in the suddenness of empty air, paying for a mercy that was never really there. The tears are already cold on the linen, the phantom one slips away. Welcome to another empty day.